Good morning, Don Huffmeister here again. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about balancing instrumentation in the elementary band. It's a subject that I brought up in an earlier video and I said I'd come back to it. I think it's a good thing to do it this morning because we're at 16 below zero with a strong wind. It's not something that I care to go out in anymore. At any rate, you'll remember that in the recruitment process for the elementary band, I said I showed them each individual instrument that we taught, and I really gave them the first lesson on that horn at the time that they were being introduced to it. So when they come to the first lesson, actually, they pretty much know some of the things that are going to happen. And I thought that worked very well with the kids because it saved time and it seemed to fit in very well with them making the choices to what they would like to play. What I always did is I tried to give the child the instrument of their choice. Even if there were some physical limitations that I thought might be impediments, I might point those out to them and say this could cause a problem, but at the same time, if you really think you want to play that particular instrument, I'd let them do it. I figured it was better for them to try, find out for themselves that they couldn't do it, and then switch to another horn. And most often, they were able to do it in spite of what I thought. So at any rate, after they've gone through that process and you've handed out the letters that they take home to their parents to get approval to start in the program, on that form I had them list a first and second choice. This was very, very important, as you will find out when the kids come through and they begin to sign up for the instruments. When those forms came back, I went through them and looked at them and tabulated what the instrumentation looked like it might be if everybody really did in fact start. And just as an example, one year I remember that there were 28 to 31 kids wanted to play percussion. Well, that'll never do. And one time, as I recalled, the instrument manufacturer, put those white and blue checkered cases over the flutes with a nice neck strap, shoulder strap, and all of the girls seemed to want to play flute, and I knew that wasn't going to work very well. And then I think about the time that Bill Clinton was president, we had a wave of kids who wanted to play saxophone. Now there may have been other reasons why these numbers went up on those various instruments at times, and I don't know exactly what other causes there might have been. But what I did know is that at the same time, I knew from my survey that within the band I'd say have too few clarinets, maybe too few trombones, or whatever instrument it might be. And in those second choices that were listed on that form, there would be some people who had signed up, say, for flute, who would consider clarinet. And that would be true also, say, regarding trombone or whatever, that I didn't have enough of. Say, some of the saxophone players would consider trombone. At any rate, what I would do then is I would go and I would see the kids who had chosen instruments that would help the balancing within the band and talk with them about switching from their first choice to the second choice. And what I would use there is just an analogy regarding, a meal that you were going to have at night. If you only had mashed potatoes and there were no other things there, it wouldn't take very many days before you'd abhor mashed potatoes. And so in a band, we need all of the instruments. We need the varieties of the vegetables, the meat, and the cranberries or whatever it is to create something that's appealing and makes sense in terms of nutrition and so on. Well, the same thing is true of the band. We need all of the instruments, and we want them in some sort of balance. And we also know, as instructors, that they're not only learning something about their own horn, they're learning something about all of the wind instruments when they join band. So later on, they can identify the oboe and the tuba and the alto clarinet or the bass clarinet or whatever they happen to play with later on. So this is part of their learning too, not just their own instrument. What you'll find when you talk with the students, and it's important to do that individually. Don't pull out all of the clarinets or all the people who wanted to play saxophone and approach them and say, now which ones of you would like to go to something else? You'll draw a 0 more than likely. And you can almost sense it in the group right away. Ooh, I'm not going to do something other than whatever I said. I don't want to be, seen that way by my peers. So I wouldn't do that. I'd always do it individually. And kids are really very, very helpful that way. I found that I would always wind up with balancing that instrumentation to a significant degree just by that one method. Then, of course, when you're through with that, there will be still an imbalance within the band. You'll probably still maybe have more percussion than you might want, or you might have more saxophones than you want. Don't despair by that, because within that group, very often those are the ones who want to try it, but they don't know. They're trying it because somebody else is, and they probably won't continue after the beginning period of 6 lessons or something, and they will drop. And that's okay. This isn't a program which allows them to get a little feeling for what it is, and so I think that that's just a normal thing. Okay, well, I think these couple of tips, I hope, will be helpful for you in balancing the instrumentation in your elementary band and seeing that you can do it in a good and humane way with them, and one that will work, and you haven't conned them in any way to, play an instrument that they really don't want to play. And that will serve you very well when, as you know, it will happen, we all do, after the shine wears off of the horn and they've played it through the summer program and then into the beginning of the year, they're going to begin to give you the symptoms of, I forgot my horn, I forgot the mouthpiece, the music is at home, I didn't practice, the cat ate the book, and all kinds of things. Those things begin to come up, and then you are in the position of needing to challenge them as to what's going on and how we're going to get beyond that. And very often at that time, what will happen is, yes, the student will say to you, well, I never wanted to play whatever that second choice was. You don't want that. You want them to know that they told you freely, by choice, they are playing the instrument they want. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Cheers, Don Huffmeister.